The time has finally come, everybody. Anyways, welcome back, true believers and all you spectacular Spidey fans, to a very exciting episode of Marvel's Spider-Man 2 101. And for any of you who might be new to my channel, who may have not seen a 101 video before, then you'll definitely want to make sure that you stay tuned for any and all exciting Marvel's Spider-Man 2 updates. Because my 101 series is your one-stop shop for knowing about anything and everything relating to any and all upcoming Marvel games. And boy oh boy, we're finally able to actually dive into some brand new info for Marvel's Spider-Man 2, which was fully analyzed in brand new articles released by both PlayStation and Marvel shortly after the gameplay was revealed during the PlayStation Showcase. But alongside of these articles, we also got some incredible updates from the game's main cast members, as well as the community director of Insomniac Games of James Stevenson. So if you're someone who is beyond hype for Marvel's Spider-Man 2 like I am, then I highly suggest that you leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel for any and all upcoming Marvel's Spider-Man 2 news. And with all that said, let's swing right into the information that was revealed by Marvel Entertainment. Whereas the article highlights Marvel's Spider-Man 2 gameplay revealed at PlayStation Showcase 2023. Get a first look at the gameplay from Marvel's Spider-Man 2. The highly anticipated follow-up in the Marvel Spider-Man series lands on PlayStation 5. Spidey fans rejoice! Big news hit the PlayStation Showcase 2023 today, as lucky viewers were treated to the first ever gameplay of Marvel's Spider-Man 2. One of the most highly anticipated games of the year, the next installment in the original Marvel Spider-Man franchise will arrive on PlayStation 5 in fall 2023. Which again, just to fully clarify for anyone who still might not yet own a PlayStation 5, Marvel Spider-Man 2 is officially confirmed to be a PlayStation 5 exclusive. And I'm sure it will eventually also release on the PC down the line, but it is initially going to launch on the PS5 later this fall. But as for exactly when that could happen this fall, we will dive into that a bit later. And all these new pieces of information relating to the game were officially revealed by the senior community manager at Insomniac Games of Aaron Jason Espinoza. And to kick off the article with a bang, we do have our first official look at Kraven the Hunter, as well as some major details relating to his role in the game. Whereas Aaron states, back in 2021, Spider-Man fans went wild when they realized a classic villain was making his way to the scene, Kraven the Hunter. This version makes his debut appearance in Marvel's Spider-Man 2, and he's in search of an equal. That spells bad news for the inhabitants of Marvel's New York, including a rogues gallery of villains and the Spider-Men, Peter Parker, and Miles Morales. Between the start of Kraven's Great Hunt and an all-new symbiote threat to Earth 1048, our heroes have their work cut out for them. And while the article itself doesn't mention who is playing Kraven the Hunter, we do have an official role announcement on Twitter from the one and only Jim Peary, where he said he's been stealthily sitting on this for years. Happy to finally announce I play Kraven the Hunter in Spider-Man 2 PS5. Thanks to all the awesome folks at Insomniac Games and Sony Santa Monica, and of course my wonderful reps at SBV Talent who helped me track down and capture a worthy role. And for those unaware, or for any of you who want to learn about Jim's past roles, he did previously play Boozer in Days Gone, as well as Angelo Bronte in Red Dead Redemption 2. And simply based on everything that we got to hear from Jim in this initial reveal, I have no doubt that Kraven the Hunter is easily going to be one of the biggest highlights of the entire Marvel Spider-Man 2 story. And given what Insomniac has been able to do with Kraven so far, I have no doubt that they're going to do him absolute justice. But the important thing to highlight alongside of all the other rogues that we do currently know are going to be in Marvel's Spider-Man 2 so far with Venom, Kraven, and the Lizard, it was also briefly shown during the Kraven cutscene that the Wraith is officially in action in Marvel's New York, who, as we know, is previous police captain Yuri Watanabe. Plus, we also quickly get to see a few returning faces from the previous Insomniac Spider-Man games within this cutscene, with characters like the Prowler, Taskmaster, and my personal favorite of Black Cat. So it's great to know that we're not only going to be facing off against some new villains within Marvel's Spider-Man 2, but also a plethora of returning characters from the past games. And if you're listening, Insomniac, I am begging from the utter depths of my soul that we end up seeing some interactions between Black Cat and Black Suit Spider-Man. Because if you're someone like me who played through Spider-Man Web of Shadows, then you know full well why that would be an absolutely amazing narrative to see play out within this game.
You're right. I could use a little more fun in my life.
Yeah?
here.
And to wrap up all these Kraven details, the article goes on to analyze that things heat up quickly when Kraven's Hunters, a new enemy faction, are in pursuit of Dr. Curt Connors, aka the Lizard, and Peter needs to stop him. The story opens at Connors' home across the East River in Queens, one of the all-new playable and explorable boroughs being introduced in Marvel's Spider-Man 2. So what I find the most interesting about this information is that Peter was actually rummaging through Dr. Curt Connors' house instead of where we know Peter is currently living at with Aunt May's house. And based on what we hear from Miles later on within the gameplay demo, it sounds like this is the first time that he's seeing Peter fully wear the black suit.
Whoa. Hey, man. New threads?
Which might mean that this might be the moment where Peter actually acquires the symbiote during the game's story, meaning that Dr. Connors might have taken a sample of the symbiote from Harry's incubation tank and try and fully run experiments on it in order to try and heal Harry at a faster rate. But seeing how exactly Peter ends up going to Doc Connors' house is going to be very intriguing to see within the main campaign. And speaking of the symbiote, we're finally diving into official details regarding the Black Suit's involvement within the game's campaign, as well as its overall gameplay mechanics. Where, as Aaron discusses, is we don't waste any time. Bursting through basement doors is Peter Parker, our original Spider-Man in this story, who needs no introduction. But what he's wearing perhaps deserves one. He's donning the highly coveted, iconic, and beloved black suit as he's more than ready for a fight. Beyond serving looks, our symbiote-bound hero has some new tricks up his sleeve. We're no stranger to Spider-Man knocking heads, but never like this. He's much more aggressive and punches certainly aren't being pulled. Symbiote tendrils aggrandize Spider-Man's silhouette, slamming foes against hard surfaces, dealing no mercy to Kraven's Hunters. My advice, get cozy with the L1 button, because you're gonna love it. And what Aaron is clearly emphasizing here is how important the L1 button played within Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales, which was the key button to fully unlocking and utilizing Miles' Venom powers. This fully ranged from a Venom Punch, Dash, Jump, Ground Pound, and of course the Mega Venom Blast that he got near the end of the game. And like we clearly see with Peter, Insomniac is 110% taking inspiration from some of the biggest Spider-Man games in history that have utilized the black suit to its nth degree. And of course, I am directly referring to Spider-Man Web of Shadows and Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions, where you were able to play as Black Suit Spider-Man in the Ultimate Dimension. And for me personally, this is an utter dream come true. The last time we actually got to fully play as Black Suit Spider-Man with its own abilities instead of it being a pure cosmetic suit was all the way back in Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions in 2010, meaning that it's been a long 13 years ever since we last saw black-suited Spider-Man go buck wild in a Spider-Man video game. Where to hit that point home even further, the super popular suit can strike fear in almost anyone who comes face to face with it. But Kraven isn't just anyone, and his highly trained hunters aren't afraid of a brawl. Fret not, new combat abilities can neutralize our new headstrong opponents with a little finesse. Strike back with aggressive parries to gain the upper hand, or cast a web to shunt enemies between a hard place and a harder place. You can also activate a classic dodge to get out of danger, but don't get too comfortable. Some attacks can't simply be dodged, and will require a parry to properly evade them. Our animators put the work in to deliver a much more impulsive Peter Parker, fitting for the symbiote bonded to his person, without sacrificing his combative finesse. New takedowns humble even the most rugged enemies, and new combat animations push Spider-Man's limits. I mean, did you see what Spider-Man did to this guy? And yes, Aaron, we 100% did. Insomniac have clearly taken the no-holds-barred approach when it comes to making Black Suit Spider-Man feel like his own individual character. Considering that Spider-Man, while wearing his regular red suit, acted much more gracefully and acrobatic during combat, Black Suit Spider-Man is a straight-up freight train, and is probably gonna beat criminals half to death by the time we fully upgrade the symbiote and all its abilities. And if we end up seeing a rage mode mechanic inputted within Black Suit Spider-Man's combat, then this is hands down going to be one of the best incorporations implications of the black suit in a Spider-Man game. Obviously more so than it already is. Because to cap off with all the black suit details for Marvel Spider-Man 2, with the element of the game that I am personally looking forward to the most is its involvement within the story, where Aaron describes that in Marvel Spider-Man 2, we're putting respect on the black suit and giving it the story it deserves. In this installment, we're really delving into Peter's personal relationship with the symbiote and how it affects those closest to him. And y'all, I am telling you right now that if we end up seeing any type of emotional Peter Parker sequences with him wearing the black suit like what we saw in Spider-Man 3, or even the Spectacular Spider-Man cartoon, then I have no doubt in my mind that this is going to be the best interpretation of the black suit we've ever seen in Spider-Man media. And I, for one, cannot wait. And to showcase exactly how great of an impact Black Suit Spider-Man will have in the story, I went on to say on Twitter after seeing that incredible gameplay demo saying, give Yuri Lowenthal his flowers right now because his Black Suit Spidey voice is absolutely incredible. And our main man, Yuri Lowenthal himself, replied to me by saying, and we're only getting started. And if that doesn't get you insanely hyped for the game than you already are, then I don't know what will.
Get back here, Shocker! Shocker! You can't escape me! I'll chase you to the ends of the earth!
Now moving on to the other amazing Spider-Man within this gameplay demo is the one and only Miles Morales. And like Najee Jeter previously teased to us that Miles is definitely going to be a standout character within Marvel Spider-Man 2, that was pretty much an understatement given everything that we saw of him within this gameplay demo. Where coming from the article, Marvel Spider-Man 2 features not one, but two playable spider heroes, as Miles Morales returns in the sequel, and is a key player in the story. In this demo, Miles is in Harlem hot on Lizard's tail. Speed is of the essence in more ways than one. First, get a glimpse at the near instant switching between both our playable Spider-Man. And if that wasn't enough, traversal gets a significant speed boost in Marvel Spider-Man 2. Cue the web wings, which can be deployed by either Spider-Man to move about the city swiftly and urgently. Use wind tunnels between skylines to move with haste. And behold the capabilities of the PS5 console's SSD, as you soar above the concrete jungle, zipping past all manner of cars, buildings, and people, and pigeons. If you thought traversal in the first two games was exhilarating, just wait until you experience it firsthand in Marvel's Spider-Man 2. And what else is there to truly say about the web wings, everybody, other than they look absolutely fire? But actually being able to see the web wings in action within this gameplay demo for both Peter and Miles looks like to be an absolute thrill. Even though I'm personally going to be web swinging the majority of the time, I can't deny that the web wings look like to be the fastest way to get around town, which makes me wonder what type of upgrades the traversal system might have in this game compared to Insomniac's previous outings. And speaking of upgrades, this is where we get to one of the biggest aspects about the gameplay, none other than the combat, where after a brief flight across town, Miles has tracked Connors inside the Harlem Fish Market. By the looks of it, Kraven's hunters are making a move on him, so it's time to clear them out. In Marvel's Spider-Man fashion, players can approach encounters with stealth or Fists of Fury, or both. Regardless of your approach, there are new gadgets and abilities that complement different playstyles. One of the most exciting new gadgets is the web line, a new way to sneak around the environment to get the drop on enemies. Cast a line over a couple of hunters and watch as Spider-Man performs a dual takedown, a Marvel Spider-Man first. Like his mentor before him, Miles Morales also has some new abilities and gadgets at his disposal. On the gadget front, we see the Web Grabber, a new gadget that pulls enemies together to an isolated spot. This allows Miles to chain one of his new abilities, the Thunderburst, unleashing an electrifying ground pound against a group of foes. You also see a glimpse of the Chain Lightning ability, which has a shocking radius of effect on any nearby enemies. Between Peter's new symbiote abilities and Miles' newfound blue bioelectric powers, each Spider-Man has their own unique set of skills that can be upgraded via an all-new individual skill tree. Our heroes share technology and train together together too, so a shared skill tree offers parallel upgrades for both. So I'm assuming that this means that we will be able to exclusively upgrade Peter and Miles individually for certain abilities, but there will be other upgrades that can be shared between the two of them, which is definitely going to make the level up system even more interesting for the player to see exactly which particular Spider-Man they want to upgrade at a certain point of the game. And if anything, giving the player more agency as to how exactly they want to upgrade their own Spider-Man is certainly going to provide the experience with a lot more freedom than what was there originally. And speaking of freedom, Marvel's Spider-Man 2 wouldn't be complete without a fully explorable Marvel's New York, which, as we saw in the gameplay demo, is bigger than ever before. Whereas the article analyzes, as Miles tracks Lizard through the fish market, the environments are sure to activate your spidey senses. The world is richer, denser, and packed with details from particles to improve textures. And what actually ended up catching my eye when I was initially watching the gameplay demo is that the lighting also gets an upgrade, casting more dramatic shadows and reflections along walls and pipes. Meanwhile, spatial 3D audio creates unique soundscapes all around you. Further, immersion gets an upgrade in Marvel's Spider-Man 2 with the signature use of the DualSense wireless controller, including a range of haptic feedback and spectacular use of the adaptive triggers. Whether you're sneaking through interiors or exploring the city streets, Marvel's New York is brought to life in ways only possible on PlayStation 5 console. And like it was mentioned earlier in the article, is that we already saw one of the brand new explorable areas in Marvel's New York with Queens, which is said to be only one of the many new explorable areas within this open world. And like we've been teased several times in the past, I definitely think it's safe to say at this point, especially seeing Queens is now officially confirmed, that Brooklyn will also be one of the new explorable regions within Marvel's New York. And considering how beautiful the game's world already looks, I can't imagine what the other areas of the city are going to look like running exclusively on the PS5. Which is where we've now finally arrived to the brand new tagline of Marvel's Spider-Man 2, labeled "Be Greater Together." Working together, the Spider-Man must pursue Lizard and fight the hunters who seek his capture. Unfortunately for them, Kraven is well equipped. Boats, aerial transports, and weapons are all eyes on Lizard. The Great Hunt continues along the East River, one of the new areas you can traverse in Marvel's Spider-Man 2, and the action is tight. Miles dismantles vehicles in his wake while Peter Parker leads the chase from afar. You'll seamlessly switch between both Spider-Man across a variety of story moments in Marvel's Spider-Man 2. Players can bask in the iconic team-ups elevated by signature set-piece moments, and experience the story from the POV of each Spider-Man. So based on everything that just described, it doesn't sound like it's going to be like the GTA 5 feature, where you'll be able to seamlessly switch between any character at a press of a button at any time while exploring the open world. But instead, it sounds like you'll only be switching between them whenever the story dictates. Which, in my opinion, is fine, but I would have liked to see more type of incorporations between seamlessly transitioning between each Spider-Man at the press of a button, without it being directly tied to the story exclusively. However, as the article concludes, it does sound like that this is only the beginning of the amount of information that we will receive for Marvel's Spider-Man 2, so there's surely even more details to look forward to in the near future. Because to finally wrap up this article, there's no combination of words that can wholly convey how excited we are to finally show you Marvel's Spider-Man 2 after all this time. We're excited to give you this first ever glimpse at what we've been working on all these years, and we hope you're as thrilled as we are. Stay tuned for future updates on Marvel's Spider-Man 2, including release dates, edition information, and pre-orders. And by God, Insomniac, if you don't end up giving us a black suit Spider-Man statue, or even a Venom statue at some point within the inevitable collector's edition, then I won't even know what to say. And yes, while I'm sure the majority of you might be upset at the fact that we did not receive an official release date by the end of the gameplay demo, and it only went back to referring to fall 2023, Insomniac clearly said we will learn all about that type of info later down the line. But as for exactly when that could happen, I actually have a theory or theories as to when that might be. Like we know already from Jeff Keighley, is that the Summer Games Fest is going to be kicking off on June 8th, and PlayStation is one of the showcase's official partners, meaning that we could always see more details about the game during that event, and another big event featuring Yuri Lowenthal and Laura Bailey herself, which, as you know, respectively played Peter Parker and Mary Jane Watson, where Laura Bailey went on Twitter the other day saying, "I'm excited to say I'll be presenting the Future Game Show with my friend Yuri Lowenthal on June 10th. We'll be unveiling exclusive trailers, world premieres, and giving you a sneak peek at some of the hottest games around on PC, Xbox, PS5 and Nintendo Switch. Hope to see you there. So yet another awesome gaming event to look forward to, but the main thing that interests me the most is that this showcase clearly emphasizes the importance of Yuri Lowenthal and Laura Bailey playing characters from the Marvel Spider-Man games. And if they're going to be hosting this event, I would love for them to give their overall opinions about Marvel Spider-Man 2, either with the footage we've already seen, or potentially another quick look at the game, considering that there's not much time left for Insomniac to start marketing this game before it releases later this year. But don't worry everybody, because if you think somehow that the footage that we saw of Marvel Spider-Man 2 ended up revealing too much, the community director of Insomniac Games himself, of James Stevenson, went on Twitter to say, "I saw a couple people saying, oh my god, you spoiled so much." We barely scratched the surface on this game and story. And given all the mind-blowing things we saw from this gameplay and now have heard about within this article, I can only imagine what the final product of Marvel Spider-Man 2 will have in store by the time it fully releases in fall of 2023. And with all that said everybody, that's the video I have for you today, and please let me know all your thoughts in the comments section down below. What do you think of this absolute news bomb we received of Marvel Spider-Man 2 and the year-and-a-half-long wait of now finally receiving a full-length gameplay demo of the title in action? For me personally, everybody, I genuinely think that this has an extremely good shot of potentially winning the Game of the Year award for 2023. And I'm not just saying that as a diehard Spider-Man fan, but clearly seeing from an objective standpoint on how much new mechanics and details that Insomniac have incorporated within this game in comparison to their previous Spider-Man titles. And knowing that this game is clearly taking full advantage of the PS5, it is without a doubt going to be a dream come true by the time Spidey fans are able to play this game for themselves. And I for one just can't wait to see what Insomniac will show next. Let me know what you think, definitely be sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you did enjoy, and for more Marvel Spider-Man 2 videos like this in the future. We are so close to reaching 100,000 subscribers everybody, so you'll definitely want to make sure that you stay tuned for any and all upcoming Marvel Spider-Man 2 updates. And until next time, true believers, stay spectacular Spidey fans, and peace out.
Whenever you're hungry, there's a deal on the Subway app. Buy 1 footlong, get one 50% off in the Subway app today.
Now that's a deal worth celebrating.
Man, what are you doing? Get it before it's gone on the Subway app.
Welcome back, true believers and all you spectacular Spidey fans, to another very exciting episode of Marvel Spider-Man 2 101. And in case you forgot, today is the day where the pre-orders for Marvel Spider-Man 2 officially go live. And if you're someone who's living in the United States like I am, who does want to try and purchase the collector's edition, the only way that you can buy them is by going through the PlayStation Direct website. So definitely see if you can try to pick one up if you haven't already, because from what I've seen, Sony still has a lot of them in stock. So don't give up if you're someone who still hasn't gotten one yet. And as for me, I was able to successfully secure my own collector's edition, which I will most definitely do an unboxing video on by the time I get my hands on it. And if I'm somehow able to acquire a second collector's edition, then I'll definitely be sure to hold a giveaway for all of you amazing viewers. So definitely be sure to stay tuned to my YouTube channel and my Twitter account for any further information. But as an awesome way to celebrate the pre-orders going live for Marvel Spider-Man 2, both PlayStation and Marvel did update their overall web pages with new massive and awesome information relating to the game. And to kick things off with the official PlayStation website, we do have a brand new synopsis for the Marvel Spider-Man 2 story, as well as very brief but still extremely exciting factoids for the game. Whereas the website highlights what is Marvel Spider-Man 2, where as we now know, this is the next game in the Marvel Spider-Man franchise, coming to the PlayStation PlayStation 5 console. Spider-Man, Peter Parker, and Miles Morales return for an exciting new adventure in the critically acclaimed Marvel Spider-Man franchise for PS5. Swing, jump, and utilize the new web wings to travel across Marvel's New York, quickly switching between Peter Parker and Miles Morales to experience different stories and epic new powers, as the iconic villain Venom threatens to destroy their lives, their city, and the ones they love. And as a diehard Venom fan myself, I couldn't ask for anything better. One of the biggest reasons why Venom is my personal favorite Spider-Man villain of all time is how he is both a physical and psychological threat to Spider-Man both in and out of the costume. So now knowing that Venom within the context of Marvel Spider-Man 2 is going to try and completely dismantle everything within the livelihoods of Peter Parker and Miles Morales, regardless of whoever is actually inside the symbiote, is genuinely shaping up to be a completely remarkable version of this beloved character. And I for one can't wait to see how the story will play out. And speaking of the story, we do have these brand new bullet points going over Marvel Spider-Man 2 on the PlayStation website, which goes on to emphasize the importance of this game's story and the brand new gameplay features. Where, to begin, this will be an evolution of the Spider-Man story. The incredible power of the symbiote forces Peter and Miles to face the ultimate test of strength, both inside and outside the mask, as they balance their lives, friendships, and their duty to protect those in need. Experience 2 playable Spider-Men. Quickly swap between both Spider-Men as you explore an expanded Marvel's New York. But more importantly are the bullet points that follow these afterwards, saying battle iconic Marvel supervillains. Fight against a variety of new and iconic villains, including an original take on the monstrous Venom, the ruthless Kraven the Hunter, the volatile Lizard, and many more. And lastly, visit an expanded Marvel's New York. Explore a larger Marvel's New York than ever before, featuring 2 new boroughs, Brooklyn and Queens, as well as locations like Coney Island and more. So not only is it utterly fantastic that Insomniac is going to give us an extremely personal narrative with both Peter and Miles both in and out of the Spider-Man suit while they're dealing with all this crazy stuff happening in New York, but that we now know that alongside of exploring Queens and Brooklyn, we will be able to see other amazing New York landmarks like Coney Island and lots more. And as a bit of a side note, knowing that this will be the very first time that we'll be able to explore Coney Island in a Spider-Man game while running in full next-gen glory with the PS5 is going to be an absolute treat for the senses. And with the mention of senses, we do have one last section on the PlayStation website to go over, which, as you might have expected, are all the highlights that come featured with Marvel Spider-Man 2 completely running on the PS5 as a next-gen exclusive, which of course ranges from the visuals, the DualSense controller, the super fast SSD loading times, and the 3D audio. Explore beautiful and vibrant new environments like the boroughs of Queens and Brooklyn as Marvel's New York is brought to life in spectacular fashion. Feel the power of Spider-Man. The responsive vibrations of the DualSense wireless controller bring Peter Parker's symbiote abilities and Miles Morales' bioelectric skills to your fingertips. And as for the adaptive triggers, master acrobatic moves, execute thrilling combos, and experience the breathtaking excitement of web-swinging traversal through the DualSense wireless controller's adaptive triggers. Now, as for the SSD, experience the power of the PS5 console with lightning-fast load times for near-instant character switching across different parts of the city, fast travel, and new web-wing traversal for quicker exploration of Marvel's New York than ever before. And last but not least is the 3D audio, where you can become immersed in Marvel's New York as 3D spatial audio creates unique soundscapes all around you. Pinpoint the sounds of the webs, bioelectric powers, bustling traffic, responsive New Yorkers, and dangerous enemy attacks. Now, in my opinion, at least in regards to the Spider-Man games that Insomniac have made, Miles Morales, while running on the PS5, did an excellent job on showcasing all the attributes that the PS5 can equip for that game, especially considering it was a cross-gen title. And Insomniac's first ever PS5 exclusive of Ratchet & Clank Giant Rift Apart only solidified that even further. But now knowing that Marvel's Spider-Man 2 is the first ever truly next-gen exclusive Spider-Man game to ever be made, it's great to see that the PS5 will include all the bells and whistles that we've come to expect for truly next-gen exclusive experiences. And I just can't wait to dive into this spectacular world by the time October 20th rolls around. But if you thought that was all the info that we received today for Marvel's Spider-Man 2, then boy do I have a treat for you. Because alongside of the pre-orders going live and this brand new information that can be found on the PlayStation website, Marvel Games themselves went on to post an entire article going over the pre-order information for Marvel's Spider-Man 2, as well as a hands-on interview with the man himself of Brian Intihar. Now, while this article does break down the pre-order bonuses that we do have for the game, as well as the digital deluxe edition and 2 pre-order bonus costumes, there's actually a whole lot more important information that Brian discusses near the end of the interview, which luckily wasn't just written in article form, but was actually recorded as a full-on podcast. So I'm gonna let Brian himself go over all these sensational details, which primarily involves their brand new interpretations of Venom and Kraven the Hunter, as well as how playing as Peter and Miles is going to work during story missions and even in the open world. And you'll definitely want to listen to everything Brian has to say because it's flat out awesome. But with all that said, everybody, that's the video I have for you today, and please let me know your thoughts in the comments section down below. Were you able to successfully pre-order the Marvel Spider-Man 2 Collector's Edition? And of course, what do you think about all these new details for the game? Let me know what you think. Be sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you did enjoy, and for more Marvel Spider-Man 2 videos like this in the future. Thank you all so much for watching. Stay spectacular, Spidey fans, and until next time, peace out.
Venom through the Steelbook case and the statue for the Collector's Edition. We're getting our first looks at Venom. I love how he's classic, yet feels like he's a distinct version of Venom for the Marvel Spider-Man universe. I gotta ask, how many teeth does Venom have?
A lot. Like it's interesting. Someone asked me the other day, like, how many? I actually don't know. But I think Venom is a really good example. Whether it's Venom, whether it's Kraven, whether it's Pete and Miles, like almost anybody we ever feature, our like North Star for this game, for this franchise, has always been like, we want to respect the DNA of the character of the franchise, what the creators have done such a good job of like making, but also what the fans love, right? Like we don't want to go so out of left field that, you know, they can't identify with anything related to the character. But at the same time, we do want to mix things up and, you know, put our kind of, you know, our unique take. Like back on Spider-Man 1, when I talked about the advanced suit, like that's a great example of right off the bat, you look at that suit, you're like, oh, the red, the blue, the eyes, that's Spider-Man. That is a Spider-Man suit. But then you have the big white spider, which was different for that color scheme. And you're like, oh, that's Insomniac Spider-Man. And we kind of took that philosophy from that moment all the way through, whether it's our character designs, whether it's story, whether it's our gameplay. And I think Venom's a great example. Like, I know there's Spider-Man fans and there's Marvel fans, but there are big Venom fans. And that is a character that you do not want to screw up.
Yeah. Exciting. You know, we also have villains, so we know we'll see Lizard and Kraven in the game. Can you give us some info on our boy Sergei Kravenov, who he is, what he's doing in the game, his design, and particularly because we got new art, there's his crew that we see in the game, and like there's the one dude in the back, like I like him, the big weird dude.
Yeah, first of all, even picking Kraven he originally wasn't in the game. Like very early on, like you asked me like back when we were talking, he actually wasn't in the game. And then we were thinking about kind of the story we wanted to tell, how we wanted to push Peter and Miles in places they may not be as comfortable with. And not to mention, like, we knew we were going to do Lizard, we knew we were going to do Venom, and we're like, what's a character that kind of can push everybody and push the story into a different direction? And we were like, Kraven. I'm a big Kraven fan. I just think he's such an interesting, because he doesn't have like magical powers. He's not like magic based. He's not like full of tech. He's a hunter. You know, obviously he's powerful and strong, but you know, he's smart. Also, I thought like his story could be probably like much more psychological than maybe some of our other characters we've done in the past. And, you know, that cinematic that we showed really kind of tells you what he's looking for. Kraven is looking for an equal. Look, he's looking for somebody who's going to really challenge him, you know, and you can tell he's frustrated with his crew, and his crew are basically hunters he's recruited from all over the world, the best of the best of the best. And he's asking for their help to find an equal.
One last thing, just the switching of characters, and that they have missions and different aspects that are specific to them, which I think is really cool and is gonna make it a lot of fun as folks find their way to play the game.
First off, there's a reason beyond it just being sequel, it's called Marvel Spider-Man 2. It's a game featuring 2 Spider-Girls. It was really important that we have an experience in a way, at least on the game side, of you're playing as both Peter and Miles, like really embracing, like not only do they have, you know, a big story they're sharing within the world, but they have their own individual journeys, and we want people to experience them. Now, the way it's gonna work is when you're playing like the main story, like that main story path, those missions, we are going to kind of determine based on where we want to go with the mission and the story, who you're playing as. So sometimes we'll have missions where you just play as Peter. Sometimes you'll just play as Miles. Sometimes they'll be together, and we'll, like in that, the gameplay reveal we showed, we'll determine when you switch